We now return you to the Children of Primus.
Yeah. Welcome. Frenzy Freestyle Sunday, Teletran 1. Mr. Magnus, an impactor hiding in the background. How are you doing, Mr. Magnus?
Oh, not too bad. Without a brace on tonight, so
Oh.
they upped my PT to some more extensive stuff, and so I can raise my elbow up enough to get it onto my desk here a little bit.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes. It's sitting over there. If it gets to hurting, I'll put it on.
Okay. So no quick running for any figures.
No, I think I got them all the way down here.
Cool. Yeah, you mentioned the storm that was like close to you the other day, but I guess it didn't directly hit you.
It skirted us. We had like 60, 70 mile an hour winds, and it was raining like buckets.
Okay.
But 15 miles to my south,
Okay.
Owensboro got hammered. Like my work vehicle, my work van, my son's driving it right now because I'm off at the shoulder.
Okay.
It's parked at his house in Owensboro. It looks like a golf ball.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, you never know with the weather because it's either one extreme to the other. Because I mean, a lot of us going through extreme winter, and then all of a sudden it's like now it's an extreme spring that's already setting in.
Well, the worst part of it was they were warning everybody. The storm was coming through.
Okay.
They were saying tornado. Probably going to be a big tornado. You might not want to park your car inside because it might get trapped in there.
Right.
So everybody put their cars out on the street. Instead, they got beat to death.
Jeez. Jeez. Yeah, no way around that one.
Here we are. I never want to rush in recklessly because I always want to make sure all my audio and stuff works before I show up.
There you go. Or jump into a conversation where you're just like, what did I enter into this week?
Yeah. Well, the question was like top 5 Transformers, and also there was one where I was running around this room like, where did it go? Where did it go?
It's being
found it eventually.
You found it. It's being incognito. Like Impactor Productions was hiding in the background there for a moment.
Like some sort of robot in disguise.
Well, there's a concept.
I bet somebody could make some money off of that.
I think we're a couple decades a bit late on that, but you never know.
Yeah, like, has anybody got the copyright on that?
It's like, quick, let's make something that transforms. Like, wait a second.
We're easy.
Mm-hmm. Impactor, what are you saying?
Nothing. I have to wait for my father to agree upon this, but I actually have this.
Oh, with glare on it. Can't see what it is.
Whoa! Oh my God. Okay, so.
I still can't tell what it is.
That is Dark of the Moon Autobot Q, aka Wheeljack, and that is and that is noteworthy because that figure was canceled in North America. It did not come out. Despite being one of the film's like big new characters, they saved him for the final wave. But Dark of the Moon, the toy line, didn't sell very well for a combination of factors. Final wave got canceled. Only came out in like Japan and Asia. So that is a very rare figure that he just held up.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm right now waiting so right now, hopefully when I get to open him, the plan is I'm going to buy the Transformers AOE Dino.
Yeah.
So I then have them side by side. I really don't get why they released AOE like they did. Dino wasn't in Age of Extinction.
Is he branded as? Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, the reissue Sideways.
Yeah, the one that's Yeah, so they didn't do a Dino in Dark of the Moon at all because of like the complications of licensing with Ferrari. They just straight up didn't want to give it to them, and so they just didn't make a figure. And then when Age of Extinction came out, Japan did a line called what was it called? Lost Age Movie Advanced, I think it was.
Yep, and
'Cause
they
that's
made
what
a bunch of reissue characters. They turned Sideways into Dino. They turned actually. So they took this Wheeljack here, the Q, and what they
Mhm.
did is they repainted him white with a new head, and then they
Yeah.
did Dark of the
Classic
Moon Ratchet.
colors.
Yep, and then they did Dark of the Moon Ratchet in his classic colors. They did a bunch of characters in their colors.
Yeah, those were a bunch of figures that also wound up canceled when Dark of the Moon went kibosh, because there was gonna be like a retrospective toy line that didn't come out. But yeah, Dino didn't get a figure till Age of Extinction. They retooled Sideways into him, and for a long time that was the only Dino until Studio Series.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about because it's new stuff.
I try hard to like provide exposition and try to avoid using too much jargon, but
Well,
I can only do
watched
so
the
much.
first movie. Whenever I saw the preview, I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at this! We get an actual live-action Transformers movie." And I watched
Yeah.
it. It wasn't bad.
Mhm.
Did I have issues with Bumblebee being a sports car and not being a spy, being a main character? Yes, but
Mhm.
it doesn't horrific. It wasn't horrific for me. I watched the second one and I lost all respect for everything that they've ever done. And
Yeah,
then Orlotti talked me into watching the third one, and that was horrible.
Blame it on him.
Absolutely horrible. And so I just gave up on that entire franchise. I
Yeah.
love what they did. I love that they brought in new kids to the collection, to the fandom.
Yeah.
That's great. But yeah, no, I just can't get behind those.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because, like, at the time, it really elevated the status of the brand, and all this neat stuff beyond the movies that we got
Mhm.
definitely only happened because of the movies adding all this exposure and money to it. But like in the present day, the impression that I get is that the reason the recent movies haven't done so well financially is people still associate them with Michael Bay, and now we're reaching a point where people are kind of burned out on them.
Yep.
Even though like Transformers One and Rise of the Beast and stuff don't have anything to do with that universe, like John Q. Public just knows Transformers as the Michael Bay thing. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
It is.
A lot of money, a lot of focus, but it burned out after a while.
Well, it's funny. When you had mentioned the sale that Walmart's were having,
Yeah.
I passed by the Walmart close to us, and I took some images. I haven't saved them on the computer, but it completely empty. Like the whole Transformers shelf is just bare.
There's
Ours was like 3.
Wow.
there's a silver lining to that,
There
and
were 3 pieces. After I just
I was
showed
gonna-
you them being full 2 weeks
Mhm.
ago. Yeah, this weekend when we went by, I just went to look see if anything new was out, and it was empty. I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
there's a silver lining to this. I left my phone in the car today accidentally. I wish I'd done it because I got into a Walmart today. They cleared all this stuff out because they're making room for Age of the Primes.
Right.
So there's like a reason why it's being emptied. A couple of the Voyager class or Age of the Primes things were already on the shelf when I was at mine, and there was like 4 empty pegs. But I noticed the tags were for TRAGEN inspired, which is the retro stuff, like the Bumblebee and Gears that they're doing.
Okay.
So like that stuff's about to get filled. They were clearing it out because they were making room for the new stuff.
But I've not seen them. Although I haven't. I would say I haven't followed the shelf part of the franchise for so many years. But I don't ever recall seeing them just completely clear out the shelf to bring in
That's
a
true.
new
I've never
line.
seen that either.
Yeah.
Now, usually they put
I
them
know.
on an end cap,
Yes.
Yeah.
or they'll bring the new stuff to an end cap.
Yeah. Although I remember one year they one of the Walmarts shifted the Transformers section into the Barbie section, which I found that a bit weird.
I'm engaged in a very Sisyphean task here, which is trying to get Party Wallop into his van mode, which is the harder of the two transformations to do because he's a shell former, no pun intended. Because I was taking photos earlier and like, now I got to do the alt mode, which means I got to squint at some instructions and try and work this out.
I'm glad you said that. I got a new bot this week.
My comic book shop still has 3 of those guys.
Well, I got a new old bot.
A new old bot.
Let's see who it is.
6-shot.
Oh, I have that. I think
G1 6-shot.
Oh,
yeah,
G1. I have the Titans of Term
lovely.
6-shot.
He doesn't have his guns, and he's extremely tight. So
Nice.
Yeah, I got to handle one of those at one point. That's one of those G1 toolings that still holds up today.
Nice.
Yeah, the Titans Return one that they did, which is the only time they updated him. Famously, he was like exactly the same, and they just added more joints because they were like, they already solved this back in the 80s. We're just gonna give him articulation and not touch anything else about him.
Since Stembach just got in here, check what I've pulled out.
See if you recognize the rarity of that.
I have to... not Wheeljack.
Yeah. Specifically the one that was canceled.
Okay.
Yep, not Wheeljack.
Yeah, I vaguely remember seeing, might have been the toy guy. Margarine, he might have been...
Toy guy did a review on it.
Yeah.
And then I know there's, isn't there one that's, like, decoed in,
Yep, his G1 colors in a
in
different
G1
head.
colors.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're not going to call him Wheeljack, but then we're going to turn around and paint him up in Wheeljack colors. It's like...
Yeah, so the Studio Series 1 that is coming out is going to be called, because they're finally doing one of this design in Studio Series, it's going to be called Wheeljack bracket Q unbracket.
Interesting.
And they asked them why they did that. They said it was literally like, it's really hard to copyright QUE. So that's why we're still naming him Wheeljack, sort of.
Well, you know what? They should...
Oh my goodness, he's turned into his gun.
Oh,
nice.
Well, it's an
Titans...
in-between word in Spanish. You'll see KUE in a lot of Spanish text. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
Like
so you turn that upside down, and it's the submarine mode.
Yeah. It's one of those type of words.
Oh, that is funny.
Yeah, let me tell you about that. So
that's like what Shockwave does.
Yeah, they put Titans Return 6-shot was the first time they did a submarine mode because they were like, we can't advertise that he's got a gun mode anymore. That's illegal. Right. So like right on the thing, it's upside down, and they were like, officially this is a submarine mode, and like they unveiled this at like a convention because they still did these at conventions back then, and everybody was laughing, and they're like, no, it's a submarine mode to the audience.
Yeah, speaking of
that's where that
Wheeljack, not Wheeljack.
Yeah.
This just happened to remind me of Orpheus Wheeljack, this Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah, if you told me that was a Transformer Wheeljack, I'd believe you.
Yeah, maybe more like the Prime design for Wheeljack, car-wise.
That
definitely has the color.
That reminds me of the Mark V from Speed Racer.
I was just going to say that. It reminds me of Speed Racer.
Wouldn't shock me if that's on the short list for collaboratives since they're trying to get all the obvious licenses out of the way. Hello, Toaster Prime.
Hello, Toaster Prime. And while you're here, we're going to throw what is your top 5 and tell us what is your number 5 Transformer out of your top 5 and why. So I'm going to throw this over to you first.
Okay.
Out of your top 5, who's your number 5?
I actually cheated a little bit because I was like, you know what I've done? Every year I do a top bots list, and I've done exactly 5 of them. I've been doing it for 5 years now. So I just went through the years. So my question is, do you want me to start at 20? Ooh, lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and quick. Do you want me to start at 2024, or do you want me to go all the way back to 2020?
Let's see. Let's go at 2020.
Okay. So for 2020, that would be Generation Select's Hubcap, who, as you know, is like a dark horse favorite character of mine, because, my first Transformer was Hubcap. And it's just the Bumblebee, Cliff Jumper, whatever tooling with a new head, but, like, it's a really fun tooling, and there's a lot you can do with this deconstructible bazooka that can turn into a bunch of things. And, yeah, they just took a character I liked and did, like, a very solid, posable version of him.
Nice.
Like, Even if you're not into hubcaps specifically, I think everybody should get one of these because they made a million retools and repaints of them. So
This is true.
yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to throw this over to Mr. Magnus. Who is your number 5 out of your top 5?
My number 5 is G1 Jetfire.
ooh,
Just
that
all around
pristine
good
white
bot.
one.
It was the easiest one for me to get out. He's the one I
Yeah.
keep right here in this little cabinet. But yeah, he's he's a big bot. His transformations are great. Plus, he's a crossover with BattleTech, Macross. In BattleTech, this is called a Phoenix Hawk, and then, of course in Macross, it's the
Valkyrie, whatever.
the Valkyrie Lieutenant Shuttle or
Right.
So it hits multiple fandoms at once. Plus, it's just
Yes.
a good-looking robot.
And it is. It was one of the better looking G1s, in
Yes.
my opinion, because in both forms, it looked great in both forms. And I'm not going to say there were few of them, but there were a lot of them that looked like crap as a robot, or they looked like crap as a bot. They could only fill one side of it.
Yep.
Like,
They
and
all
he
like
fills
Ratchet
out
and
both.
Ironhide, but oof.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to throw that to Impactor. Out of your top 5 Transformers, who's your number 5?
Well, I would say Q, but I haven't got him in hand yet. But for me personally,
Potentially Q.
yeah, I could actually say this is Q. But for my personal one, I don't have all of them right now. There'd be a different choice. But for the ones that I have with me right now, not Dark of the Moon, Transformers Prime, Dark Energon Knockout's my favorite.
Number
Especially
5.
with his Dark Energon color scheme, and that even though I don't have his ability, I'm still working on like really fixing up his body. Let me get his arm redone and put this in. I have taken the Transformers Tarantulas chainsaw.
Yeah, I
and
noticed.
his hand chainsaw.
Yeah, that's a good way to give him his Transformers Prime weapon.
Yeah, and which honestly I really like. Though if I had to go off, like besides Knockout being here, top 5 out of all of them would be Breakdown, Transformers Prime Breakdown, even though I can't buy that thing until I save up $250.
And it
That
That's the
thing-
one they.
Sorry.
That's
One
the one
you
you couldn't
couldn't-
get because it was only in Japan until they did that reissue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what I might do is just to get the Breakdown itself, I'm going to pay somebody professionally. I'm going to buy the Transformers Prime Swerve body, like the toy. I'm going to buy 2 just because I don't own Swerve. And then I'm going to buy the Legacy Breakdown, switch heads, and then I'm going to have the person repaint the entire Swerve toy into Breakdown.
It's sad that might be the easiest way to get one compared to just finding one.
Now before we get to Impactor, Cruisers Motorsports in the comments, and Cruisers, who is out of your top 5 Transformers, who is your number 5 out of your top 5? Now Sedenbach, out of your top 5, who is your number 5?
I wrote 5 list up because I was like, do you mean personally? Do you mean as like childhood only toy or childhood toy that kind of make me buy some early adult toys or character or really impressive toys? But the one I could actually, if I had to put them in like an order of like 5 to 1, I would say the best list for that would be the personal list. And the 5th place one would be my little man Growl.
Ooh, Growl. The Micromaster?
Yep, not to be confused with Prowl.
Nice.
That's a dark horse pick. What's your... I'm curious about your reasons.
Just always happened to have, like, I lost, like, his tree buddies, like, way long. I don't even know when, but I've always had... He was just someone I always managed to keep a hold of somehow. Even when I didn't know who the hell he was, like, in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is a little Micromaster Transformer, but I couldn't tell you what his name is, but I had him still, so... And I mean, some other, like, just to give a comparison to, like, other childhood toys I had, like, the Kmart Inner Robot releases only of Pretender, Jazz, Bee, and Grimlock.
Hmm.
And those managed to follow me into adulthood. I had a dealer and an Inferno, but at some point, like Raoul's teammates, I lost at some mysterious point. So,
All right, now I'm going to throw for myself my number out of my top five. My number five is Omega Supreme. I've just always been impressed with the toy when I got him as a kid, and just his character, and he was one of those few where the toy and the cartoon, they were pretty much like identical. What was cool is like the little plate for where his face was. I was able to like pry that open with like a small screwdriver and make like a little face for him, and you know, and closed it back up. So he had that same grim looking face that he had from the cartoon. So now I'm going to throw this back to Mr. Magnus. Who's your number four?
Reflector.
Ooh. I always forget how small he is.
Well, this is the G1 one.
Yeah.
This is the G1 colored refractor one.
Oh yeah. I
Go to
have that. It's a
Stembach. I'll
great
be
set.
right back.
But as was, you know, he was the first combiner. I just thought it was really cool, and I liked the way that Viewfinder, Spectro, and Spyglass all spoke in unison in the cartoon.
Yep.
It was like they shared a brain, but they had three separate bodies.
Which funny, I'd seen a conversation in one of the Reddit forums one time, someone mentioning combiners, and somebody pointed out how they forget about Reflector, but I think at times they forget about Skylinks too, because technically he's a combiner.
Right. Well, the argument that I've heard them make with before the WFC came out, the War for Cybertron, Reflector actually like shared a brain. They all three spoke at the same time. They were able to work apart from each other,
Right.
but they spoke together.
Right.
And so people say that they weren't necessarily a combiner because they weren't separate entities.
Yeah, but I mean, other combiners.
It's an argument that you'll get into on some of the Transformers pages. Now, Skylinks, on the other hand, Sky and Lynx both had their own brain.
Right.
It's just that Sky kind of took over the persona whenever they combined.
Correct. And thinking about combiners, and I thought of you specifically when we're thinking about the Constructicons, and within the line of work. I mean, imagine 6 characters who are kind of mentally in sync when it comes to like a construction project, where they almost don't have to look over a blueprint. Like, they all mentally know exactly who does what and what needs to be done.
And I don't care what union you're from. Can you imagine 6 operators agreeing on anything?
Exactly. Exactly.
Or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. 5 operators and 1 teamster.
There you go. Yeah, and then there's long haul. I mean, there's always going to be one.
Yeah.
All right, so now I'm gonna throw this over to you, Sedum. Who is your number 4?
again, if I'm going with that personal list, I debate it between either Rat Trap or Rabido. Rat Trap because of me memeing the hell out of this YouTube video all the time whenever there's like bad weather, like hurricane or snow or tornadoes.
Oh,
I'll just post this YouTube video of all the times he says, "We're all gonna die." Whereas the Rabido was because I made that custom. And then if there was from the other list, if there was characters that I would say have comparable impact to me, like Sideswipe and Hound and Blue Street because of their alternator toys.
Mhm.
And then the G toys of Rabido, Scram, Hooligan, which was the tiger, the orange tiger, Cyberjet, and then High Beam, which
Hooligan.
was the green G2 GoBot that was like a Matchbox Hot Wheels car that
Right.
shared a body type with their version of Bumblebee. He's on the same level as Rat Trap for me, but yeah, I figured it gets more usage than those. But I definitely played with those toys, or they had the usage as much as I use this as a meme. Rat Trap as a meme.
Cool. Now I'm going to throw it over to Fear. Who is your number 4?
My number 4, who was my 2021 best bot, would have been Kingdom Rodimus Prime, who tends to sit in vehicle mode, because it's just this massive, lovely, chunky brick. And just like we said the other week, it's very nice that they put out a big, detailed commander class with all the fixings of a character that I don't think gets enough respect. It doesn't get to exist outside of Hot Rod, because this one doesn't evolve. It's just Rodimus Prime. Huge battle base. Figure is tons of articulation and parts count and paint and everything. Like, commander class is good because they basically have like infinity money to make these guys good.
And he came with a ton of little effects too.
That's what I was getting to. Came with you've seen them in my photo shoots if you looked at any of my reviews, because came with so many blast effects. They obviously want you to give them out to people because they can't all be used on this. Oh, you didn't come through there.
I said my favorite one is the smoke that you can put on his stacks.
Oh yeah.
The black ones.
Yeah. So yeah, just the big maximalist high budget version of a character I love.
There's a toy I like for similar reasons, but I mean in terms of playability, but play style wise, budget wise, it's on the opposite end of the spectrum. And it's technically 2 characters, and then they're get the picture pulled up. It's like the tanker truck, back with, and then the 2 guys, pipeline, the one with the red bits, then the one with the blue bits is Gusher, and he combined to make a backhoe truck alone, separate from their trailer. But you can make a bunch of battle stations, and 2 battle stations, or a really complicated one, or just a really built up heavy truck unit. Kind of like that Kingdom Hot Rodimus, but at the other end of the spectrum,
like
Micromaster X Plus. Just thought I'd mention that, since I was like, oh, that's an interesting coincidence.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to say about Commander Rodimus, most of the Commander's class figures are big guys, right? They did Skylynx, they did Jetfire. Rodimus is basically a Voyager-sized figure with a base, which sounds bad, but like I said, it just meant that like the budget was like past the ceiling in terms of the stuff they could do engineering-wise.
Yeah, it's like how these guys were Micro Monsters, plus that Rodimus was a Voyager, plus, if you want to be generous, a Leader plus.
Yeah.
Cool. Now I'm going to throw this over to...
Totally reasonable.
I'll throw this to Impactor. Who is your number 4 out of your top 5?
So my number 4 is Tyrannosaurus Prime Prowl. I am a sucker for War for Cybertron characters, and well, they basically did Prowl perfectly for a War for Cybertron character. I personally say he should have been instead, this guy should have been here instead of Smokescreen.
It's funny because it's a retool of Smokescreen.
It's a retool of Smokescreen. It works perfect with him. It's a super good figure.
Well, as it should be. Prowl and Smokescreen were both Dotson brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fair point.
Actually, I guess I'm going to throw this out there. Has Blue Streak ever been redone in any of the recent lines?
Oh, lots of them.
It was in WFC.
Okay.
Siege and Earthrise.
I have
like
I have Siege Blue Streak, and speaking of Siege Blue Streak, Kickover, which will kick off, whichever way you want to say it, will be no longer existent on that toy mold since the Siege Prowl is coming back, and I will have both of them.
Yeah. Generally, if they did one of the Datsun brothers, they do the other 2 eventually.
Right.
Within a line, so... And, like, that's part of the decision process, because they're like, well, we make a new
I have
tooling
the
for that.
same
We got 2 more locked in right there as repaints. Yeah, Those are the two most recent ones. The Siege one and the Earthrise one.
Cool.
The Earthrise one, which is 10 times more rare.
Yeah.
It's even more expensive. It's almost as expensive as the Prowl itself. That came out with Earthrise, which we are all waiting for. Oh, ooh, this is a cool fact, actually. So, everybody knows the Dead Prowl 2-pack, correct?
Earthrise Blue Streak is hard to find.
Yeah, he's
Childhood
expensive.
trauma
You
2-pack.
just gotta look in the right store. I mean, in the right collection room.
You and Kentucky itself, I guess, are a statistical abnormality when it comes to this stuff. Always.
But,
Anywhere where 3 Unicrons exist, you will find it.
That's right. That's right.
But with all those characters, so Blue Streak, what was I even trying? So this is the fun fact. So if you take Silver Streak's torso off, like the chest piece, so it turns out the chest piece is removable. Actually,
Hey, Arm Kettle, what are you doing?
No, this
What
is
are you breaking now?
No, we're not breaking something. This is actually something that a lot of people have been doing to give themselves an Earthrise Prowl. And so what people have been doing is they'll take the dead Prowl body and they'll remove the battle damaged chest off and then replace it with the painted professionally chest from Blue Streak or Silver Streak, whichever toy you use, though most likely it's going to be Silver Streak. And what they'll then do is they'll screw it on and everything, and then they'll remove the old head, the one that has that dead face, and they'll put the Siege Prowl's head on.
Yeah.
Therefore,
This is how rare
you get
Earthrise Prowl
Ironically,
is.
that is cheaper.
Yeah.
and therefore you get basically a Transformer that is super rare for under $70.
Yeah. Because when they did Prowl in that set of Datsuns, he only came out in a 2-pack with Ironhide, and it was one of those Amazon sets that sold out, like, immediately. So Earthrise Prowl is really hard to get.
Also,
And then,
speaking
you know-
of Walmart's clearing out, my Walmart is about to clear out everything and replace
Yeah.
everything with new stuff. And I mean, it's super close to being cleared out. There's only like 3 or 4 Transformers left. They're even clearing out all the old legacy stuff. And I'm referring to the Slipstream, Quake, and G1 Optimus, surprisingly.
Oh, everybody get yourself a G1 Optimus.
There you go. Now, for myself, I think we got everyone's number 4. For myself, is an Inferno.
He is so
Oh, of course he has
lucky.
the freaking Earthrise Prowl set that nobody could get.
Of course.
That's one of, like... There's like 10 of them in existence, and that's like one of them.
That's
Why
one
does
of them
he
right there.
have me?
That's one of them
If
right
he has
there.
10 duplicates of that, I'd be willing to save up my money and buy one of them off of him.
So for my number 4 was Inferno, which is a gift I got from my mom when I was younger.
Lovely.
And he's just one of my favorite G1 characters, and another one who I
The
find
Inferno?
in terms of the cartoon and the toy, he's pretty much identical.
You're talking about the fire truck Inferno.
The fire truck
Yeah.
Inferno.
Yep, and which I just brought up
My
right here.
friend, allow me to introduce
Yeah,
you
he's
to
on the
a-
back side. I can't get to him.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
that's
to
one
be fair, the
Inferno.
Fire Ant Inferno from Beast Wars was pretty fun too. Even if he was just a name
I
swap.
have to buy that Beast Wars Legacy toy. That, if anything, that is one of the best Inferno toys we will ever get for Beast Wars.
I like
Or-
the Super Link Energon Inferno and the quote unquote grapple. They make good legs, or if you use them as the top, you can use instead of using their legs as over shoulder guns, you can, especially if you have one of the laser beak Terracon modes, you can make kind of like Gundam wing-ish wings using
Interesting.
the legs.
Now, Sedum, I'm going to throw it over to you. Who's your number 3 out of your top 5?
I'm gonna say the Siege 6 gun.
I have
Ooh.
him.
I have
That's
the
probably the first like recent history. So, you know, WF modern era Transformers. If you're going by like WFC to present, then Prime Wars, and then before Prime Wars, you know, you have Chug, and then before that you have G2 and Beast Wars, and then the '80s stuff, G1 stuff before that.
If I had to say, Siege 6 gun actually went. Yeah, he might have been one of my last ever figures to get actually from an actual store. And I'm referring to Walmart. That was
Yeah,
like
like-
my mom. So this is a funny story that goes along with getting 6 gun. my mom had to go to Walmart
Sport.
quickly with my sister to get clothes, and while she was there, she found actually 3 Transformers: Six Gun, Cogman, and I'm referring to the new Studio Series Cogman, and Shatter, and I'm talking car mode Shatter. My mom would get me actually Six Gun and the car mode Shatter for me, and well, since then I've had those two, and honestly, that would be one of my favorite, whatever they're called, what are they called, Stembach?
Weaponizers?
Weaponizer.
Weaponizers.
The last
So,
weaponizer I've ever
this
gotten was
folder, let's see, how many pages? 1, load, damn it, 2,
I don't got
3.
time for this.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it goes on for maybe a long while. Okay,
Yeah, so I have the,
even then I was
retool.
getting a lot of usage out of them. I'll just like
Green
scroll.
Cog.
Saying I have the retool where they changed him into the
Oh, I got that too.
the jet power dasher. Yeah, again, he shows up pretty often in my review photos because I'll take him apart and stick the guns on a figure to show how many they can hold on them.
I want to get
Yeah,
him
it wasn't
eventually.
until the
He's super cheap.
fossilizers that he kind of got dethroned for me. Because him by himself, you could do a lot of builds with him, vehicle types, animal types. And then Paleo Rex, I saw, was sort of the opposite. You could do a lot with moldables of him really well that looked cohesive. Like I had like my versions of Evangelions, a little like skeleton tiger beast things, bike motorcycles. Where is my Ava? Oh, damn it. Kind of good idea.
Holy
yeah,
Cheez-Its!
Yeah, that's one of the advantages of like the fact that these guys all can get torn apart. They have sort of like Lego energy where people will just build.
I didn't even
combiners
realize
out
you
of
could take off Paleotrex's head.
Yep.
His bot mode head. I didn't realize that until recently.
Well, it's a reference to the original Beast Wars ape gorilla primal figure because he had a mace that hit in, I don't remember if it was left or right arm, and it's and like literally the part that does the hitting of the mace was what his head design or is based off of.
I liked in the War for Cybertron trilogy when they walked into Sound Blaster's thing and they just had him go with them because they were like, "Oh, you've got to leave all your weapons out there," and they're all just like,
yeah.
"Okay." And he just walks in there, and then when it gets hairy, he breaks apart and gets on both of the other people, and they're just armed to the teeth now.
And if I had to say, like, if there were any other toys from like the other lists that I saw you could do a lot of for their play pattern, I think that so like I like Six Gun as a weaponizer, or modulator, or fossilizer, and so forth, those types. But I feel like if you want someone who did like the mini cons from Unicron trilogy best, you get like Armada / Legend of the Micron Demolisher / Ironhide in Japan. And I don't remember which is which, but Cyclonus / Sandstorm. They have the best integration of Micron minicon functionality.
Cool. Now I'm going to throw this Mr. Magnus. Who is your number 3?
Oh, he's got to go get it.
No, he's right here. I decided to grab the Pengu toy once, so if we're going to show an Optimus Prime, let's show an Optimus Prime.
Is that Big Transform?
Yes. Yeah, this is the Pengu toys, oversized.
What's it an
Can
oversized
they oversize Ultra Magnus for me, please?
I have no idea. I can go get the box. The box is sitting in there on the shelf. But yeah, he's massive.
Bigger
I
than...
love him. He is cartoon face, cartoon body. Everything on him is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he reminds me of the Magic Square one, but I don't know if it's an upscale of that specifically or not.
I think that's actually...
Yeah, he looks like he just crawled out of your TV screen while you were watching a G1 cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's frightening.
Didn't Frankenstein? What was it? Like Home? or human resources. But I think that was the line he had a really big Optimus Prime from.
Right.
I think Pangu is the biggest one. I can look that up real quick.
Okay. And while you're looking it up, Ashley, see, Fear or Courage, who was your number 3?
So I did 2020, I did 2021, and then I did. So then the next one would be 2022, which is another iteration of a favorite character of mine, Retro Hot Rod. This is the reissue of the G1 figure where they painted it up very detailed to be as cartoon accurate as possible. Well, to the movie, so it's pinkish purple. There's no stickers. It's all done by paint, and like Mr. Magnus said, not every G1 figure holds up, but I think this one does. You know, I'll go to the boards defending this is holding up. So I already liked it, and this just basically made the best possible version where they just put it in cartoon colors. Yeah, so it's I can just do the transformation super quickly because of how easy and fun it is. And then I didn't plan this, but we're doing it. Just gotta pop the hands in.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. I'm just gonna fix that. Give me a second. As a bit of trivia, they actually changed how the arms worked between the actual vintage ones and the reissues, specifically so that break right there would not be fatal, because it used to be pinned, and if that came out, the pin was not going back in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So they changed how the arm worked so that it was just a friction joint, so that if it came out like that, you could just put it back in and it wouldn't really be a problem. It's a tight.
If I was a G1 official, I think Mr. Magnus would have a heart attack.
Yeah. I almost had a heart attack till I remembered that this is not an original. There we go. I was a little too eager, but the point is, when you're not rushing through it like I did, it's a really, really fun transformation that's a great thing to just like do idly, and the car mode looks great, and he's still got his 2 guns somewhere, but I don't keep him out with him because, you know, just used hand lasers in the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was 2022's best Transformer, in my opinion.
Cool. Now, Impactor, you're number 3.
Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. Being my very first and only Magnus. Well, besides Siege Wars
Share Cinema.
I actually do like him for his actual toy. Even though he may be hollow, I don't care personally.
They only made him hollow so they could make him huge.
Yep, it's worth it because he is huge, especially with how you can give him gorilla arms.
Yeah, as part of his transformation, you're supposed to lower them so they can just... I think the G1 can do that too.
Somewhere.
Yep, the G1 can do that.
Wait, let's just get him into monkey position.
Oh god. I know what this looks like.
I mean, you know, they rework the transformations, but some of these guys, it's like, well, they're not going to need to transform differently, so...
Come on. Oh.
Yeah, I think this is that funny thing that they gave this toy. And on top of that, being my very first and technically going to be my only until I get the 86 Magnus, he basically will fill in the job for a while, since if there, let's just say, was a fire, I would definitely have him holding like 10 different Transformers inside his trailer.
Now, for my number...
Sorry. Uh-oh. Spin crash. Well, while waiting for spin, I would just put my 86 Optimus trailer and my Combiner Wars Magnus here, and just have them hold like 10 different Transformers so I can just run out of the house quickly.
Just fling them all in.
And well, speaking of, there is a Brawn just chilling in here.
Oh, I like that.
This is the problem with the internet, is that I'm getting all of these 3D printed ones. But as far as actual transforming, Pangu Toys is the tallest, and that's this guy right here. Now, there's a lot of them that are just figures that are taller than him. But yeah, somebody's got a 3'6" transforming 3D printed Optimus Prime.
Like, does that count? It's not really mass produced.
So
point,
who's
Plus,
gonna
that's what
take over
I'm saying.
the
That's the problem. That's the problem with the internet is that I'm getting everything,
Yeah.
everything that's a tall transforming Optimus Prime.
If anything, before any of those things, the tallest Optimus I think there had to have existed was the Revenge of the Fallen Optimus, the leader class one. I think that had to have been the biggest.
Bubba, there's Pengu toys right there.
I'm referring to back then. I'm not referring to now this time. I'm referring past tense.
Somehow I kind of feel like I think back in the day, Masterpiece #1 Optimus was probably the biggest one.
He's
'Cause
a
I've seen
monster. He's right here in the. I'm not going to get him out because I'd have to get him out
Yeah. I
behind
saw him in
everybody else.
person at TFCon, which is one little quiet reason I like going to TFCon. I'm like, even if I'm not buying stuff, I get to see things in person.
Yeah,
I'm
hoping for the. I'm excited for the next TFCon. I'm hoping one comes near me.
Yeah, but
And
like,
I really did not realize my father made me miss out on going to BotCon, because if I went there, I would have been excited.
Oh boy. Yeah, but yeah, Masterpiece #1 Optimus is like a big guy. He's not as big as that Pingu one, but like he was oversized because they didn't think that they weren't sure if they were going to make other Masterpieces. They thought this might just be a one-off, so they didn't try to like scale him. They're just like, let's just make a big guy.
And then they did that Megatron Starscream.
Yeah.
That Megatron was a question to me.
Yeah. Oh, he was not good. That first Masterpiece Megatron.
They got him to turn into a gun. That's all we can say.
Yeah, he had problems with rust. Like he had metal parts, like his feet and stuff, that would actually just rust. So you had to like put anti-rust coating on them,
or get some rusties.
Yeah.
Did we lose Spin?
I don't know. He's like offline.
So who's gonna take over the show?
Well, we just keep on rolling.
Yeah. Have we set our number
You just
threes?
did yours, didn't you? Didn't you just do your third?
I did
that
not.
was Hot Rod.
Okay, so set him. What's your third?
No, I said my turd already.
Oh, so have we all set our thirds?
Yep.
Oh, so that's back around to me. For my number 2, of course, is Minosaur.
Just larger and larger robots each time.
Why is he getting bigger and bigger?
This is as much as I can lift with this arm right now. I'll tell you that right now.
He's giving you a workout.
That's as high as I can raise him. So,
if I had to choose any of my combiners,
the Stunticons are my favorite combiner. Just because they're cars and I'm a car guy.
Predaking.
Do what?
Predaking. Do you have Predaking?
Yes, I have the Jimbao oversized Predaking.
Big boy with gun feet.
Yes.
That one, actually, I'm planning to buy eventually. Me and my dad were talking it over. So once my room is finished, because today I did a heavy ton of work in my room, and tomorrow will be a great day for me.
Oh, you're back.
I'm back.
Good.
I play with two other.
My number 2 relates to you.
Oh, you didn't say what your number 3 was, Spin. You immediately vanished.
Yeah, it's a power failure. Okay, so I guess we'll catch up.
G1s.
There's the Predaking.
Would he
has to see Predaking.
G1 bots?
No, he's gigantic.
He's gigantic, but like if they were all in the individual bot mode.
They're the size of Legends, or not Legends.
Leaders.
Leaders, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, so I think that would be comparable.
That's true. They'd be the same size as the Dinobots.
So now we have less than 10 minutes. So my number 3 was Omega Supreme. Sedenbach, who did you mention for your number 2?
So you might remember the first time you ever talked to me, I got talking about this guy on one of the Facebook forums, preaching about Leo Convoy being the one-man combiner slayer.
Yes.
And so That's obviously that's the very personal reason. And then if I had to say someone who was like more of a toy basis, then it would be
Oh yeah,
Karada,
Korada
because
the
I'm
Cobra.
actually attached to his
Yep.
toy, whereas, but not so much his character. Whereas Leo, it's the reverse. I'm attached to his character, but not any of his toys in particular.
Cool. Now, who else? Who else went while I was
Magnus
coming
just
back?
went. He did Menasor.
He had his
Okay.
giant Menosaur.
All right. And Fair, did you do your number 2?
No. I'm just gonna get him.
Number
We're
two.
starting to hit on people I've already talked about. 2023's top figure was Origin Jazz, right? All the Origin guys are really good. This guy just turned out to be the best of them. He just looks great. Like they immediately really captured Jazz's personality. So he's got the grappling hook hand.
They're
which you can switch
reissuing
out.
him actually in a 3-pack
good.
with Wheeljack and Bumblebee. So they're reissuing. It's a 3-pack. It's
Yeah.
whatever they're called. Those 3 packs that Takara made, and it's
What are they
coming
called?
with repaints of all 3 of them.
Yeah,
The
dramatic
Bumblebee,
capture
Wheeljack,
series.
and that Jazz.
Yeah, so it's a good way to get all 3. But if you're only going to get one, this is the one. And he changes into his episode 1 vehicle, which is cool. But beyond that, he's just well put together. There's no singular X factor as to why this one's good. Every part of it wound up turning out really well. That's why it was the number 1 that year.
Cool. Now, Impactor, did you mention a number 2?
My number 2 would go to my custom painted Transformers TLK Hound.
Ooh. I like
I've-
the triple gun.
I have his original Age of Extinction weapons with him. I painted on his Red Cross logos onto his helmet and everything else. I even painted up his grenades. I did a lot of work into this guy when I got him. And I got him back in, like, right when TLK came out. And my dad got me him as a gift. And my goodness, why did I not improve him when I was so young? Though then again, maybe the paint work would have been horrible because
Yeah, I'm saying
painting
you
the
did it when you
helmet
had
was a pain in
experience.
my butt. I had to be super careful painting the crosses onto his helmet. Oh, and well, now we're back to me. I have the cross on there, and the
Oh,
front.
yeah, you painted the little crosses, eh? Yeah, because they couldn't
And-
do that because Red
I
Cross
did
is
the
like
inside of his
copyrighted.
head.
Mm-hmm.
I did the cross there. I did the cross there. I did the cross
It's
there.
a really impressive job the way you added them in with paint like that.
Yeah, I was using minimal paint. I didn't have that much left in my paint markers, so I was very lucky I could actually do that. And I haven't had to repaint these since.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
There you
Right.
go. So now, to Mr. Magnus, who is your number 1?
Well, everybody ought to know what it is, and no, it's not Unicron.
That's according to Toy Warp.
I've said it enough times that everybody should know that Skywarp
I knew it.
will always be my number 1.
I knew it.
And this
Old
is
and
my
new.
G1. This is my G1. And then every version.
You have 2 of them?
Oh no, I have much more than that.
Oh my goodness, what do I...
And hang on, we're not done.
How many Earthrise Skywarps do you have?
Keeping them in the box too.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have
many Earthrise
3.
Skywarps?
I have 3 of these and 3 of these.
What would I have to do to buy off one of those off of you?
No, you're not buying any one of these off of me.
That's a boy.
Hey, they're fixing to get reprinted. Why would you want to pay my price?
There you go. So that's Mr. Magnus's number 1. I haven't mentioned my number 2, which is Defensor, which
You guys
in
need your stuff? I'll be right back. I gotta get
recent years I've kind of really connected with the character. Just the fact of Hotspot being, I believe, a better leader than most, where the fact he's got 2 pacifists and 2 fighters on the same team, but they work really well together. So that's my number 2. Let me jump over to Sedum. Who is your number 1?
I'm gonna bring them both back up. So, and the whole reason I even know about Leo, Convoy, and Karada, to Japanese Beast Wars and Japanese Unicron trilogy is Arcadis. here in the middle.
Oh yeah. I used to have the American Dinobot release of that Air Raptor.
Yeah, there.
It was a great figure.
So
Really,
yeah,
really
him,
sort of
I
unique
sent-
design.
I mean, there's basically, you guys might have probably not even knew me if I never saw it, was the green hard-headed dinosaur that was a retool of the original Dinobot and Grimlock.
Yeah.
That was itself also a redeco of the purple hard-headed dinosaur from Beast Wars
Dinotron.
Second or Neo. That
Yeah.
and
I had that
yeah,
one, too. I might
got
still
into
have
deep
it.
diving on TF Wiki. He's like, what the hell is this? These Beast Machines, Dinobots, and it led to arcades. And it's like, ooh, he looks cool, and he actually has media behind him, both the manga and the anime, unlike his Beast Machines counterpart. So I was like, I like him, and then I looked him up on YouTube, found him, that channel, that Hairudo's fan subs, and yeah, that's
So
but
back-
he's probably
back
the
in the
most
2000s.
impactful character on like the media, Transformers media I've gotten into since COVID, 2020. Was that
Nice.
character single-handedly? He is to like getting into Transformers media as Six Gun's been for me getting into recent toys. If that comparison makes sense, like just the
Yeah.
weight of importance to me.
Cool. So now we got 2 minutes left. Fear, who is your number one?
I have already rhapsodized about it very recently, but last year's number one figure was, of course, Legacy G1 Universe Optimus Prime. The miniature version of the G1 model with modern articulation. It's one of the most fun Transformers I've ever had my hands on in a very long time. And I'm like, it's a deluxe. It's mass released. You can get it at plenty of Walmarts right now, probably. And if not, it's not hard to get on the internet. Everybody should get one of these. Just if you care even a little bit about Transformers, even if it's just a one-off thing, this guy is just like super fun. Everybody should own one.
Cool. Under just over a minute left. Impactor, who is your number one?
So my number one, this right here would be my very first one also of this figure, if I can get his parts to agree with me. Like I said, my parents are super nice and very awesome. And for Easter last year, before I got to join your guys' group, I actually got
Thrilling 30.
Thrilling 30.
Thrilling 30's Jetfire complete inbox, and I still have the box chilling upstairs in my room.
Oh yeah,
I
it
have
was
the,
the Seekers that were based off his mode that were Combiner Wars.
Yep, aka, and not to mention, so I really want to do a stop motion where I'm making a switch. I have a custom printed, 3D printed Decepticon logo that you can give your Transformers to hold.
Yeah.
And I
So you get
really want to try and figure out if I could make a stop motion where he changes his sides.
like
I was
the
trying
Fire
to
in
find
the
his
Sky
valve
clip.
mask, but I couldn't
Mhm.
find it. And well, for his G1 gun, I'm using Transformers Siege Magnus' gun.
Yeah, I have the version of this that came in the Revolution set with the little GI Joe figures. It's a good figure.
The
Cool.
beat where he was super close to being A6 Optimus.
Have y'all ever
Yeah.
seen the G1 Decepticon Jetfire? The one that's purple?
Yeah.
Hmm.
God, that one is so sweet.
That is sweet.
They are proud. Oh, they proud of that one.
Should I just buy a duplicate of the one that I have and just make a custom of that?
Hey,
Oh,
Bill,
I mean,
who
if you got the
married?
skills.
I have the skills, I know that.
No, I didn't get married. That's a friend of mine's wedding.
Your friend's wedding? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I said who got married. I didn't say you
Oh,
got married.
No, that is Brittany Stone right behind me and her husband Jared.
Okay.
And also,
And they got married on Pie Day, and they had 30 different kinds of pie
Oh my
instead
God.
of having
Nice.
Oh, that's
instead of
cool.
having a
Goodness,
wedding
the
cake.
Teen
That was-
Titans don't have anything on all those pies.
2 days ago.
Well, now we have to end our stream. So just before we end, my number one is Jazz, because he's just been
Of
a
course.
favorite character, of course, since '84. And funny enough, on the Black History shorts that I was doing, Arif, who was the voice of Jazz in the 40th anniversary, left a comment saying thank you.
I saw.
Yeah, which was
Oh,
very,
that's
very
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, we're going to round up and jump over into Teletran 2. So go back, watch this video,
I
and get...
will participate in that, even though I can't join. I will be in the chat because Hauler is still a good question to everybody.
Yes, so we're going to be speaking about Holler. So everyone who wants to catch all of our top fives, go back and watch this video and like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and until all are one.
Till all are one. I'm going to